channel. I'm Isabella and today I'm going to be showing you the 24 books I am most excited to read in 2024. So most of these books I don't have as a physical copy, and I do only own the ebook version, so most of them will just end up as pictures on the screen. But I am so excited, and all of these books, I don't think any of them are any new releases per se, but I never really pay attention to new releases. It's whatever I feel like reading, I kind of read. So recently these are the books I have randomly wanted to read so much, but I didn't have the time to read in 2023. So let's get right on to this video because there's gonna be a lot to talk about. Okay, so the first 3 books that I want to read in 2024, which feels so weird to say because as I'm filming this is actually the 31st of December, but I'm pretty sure we all know that this is actually an extremely old series, but it kind of blew up all over again. So I definitely want to read, if I can even pick these up, The Hunger Games. I've actually never read these, and I do have I think these are special editions, I'm not really sure, but they're extremely pretty and I've had these for quite a few years now. I just never got around to reading them because I was never into dystopian fiction, and we read 1984 by George Orwell in English. I think it was 2 years ago now, so it was really interesting and I actually enjoyed the genre a lot more than I expected. So I was like, why not? And as we all know, the first book is definitely The Hunger Games. This is by Suzanne Collins. I'm not really sure the order, but they also listed up at the back, so I'm just gonna go off that. But basically all I've been told is that this is kind of like a trilogy, the base 3 books is a trilogy, but I know that the prequel, I'm not really sure what the title is, the whole title. I just know it's The Ballad of the Songbirds. I don't know what the last couple words are. I think it was and snakes, but I can definitely double check on that. But that is another one of the books I want to read, but we're going to focus on the trilogy first. So definitely want to get into The Hunger Games. I've been telling myself I need to read this for the longest time. My friends are also really convincing me to read it, and I'm really interested, and I want to see if I'm going to be interested by this book series. Book 2 is Catching Fire. This is so pretty. I love the metallic, and also I'm not a big fan of the color red, but this is a gorgeous red. The little excerpts, if you can even call them that, at the back don't really make much sense to me because I have no idea about what this book series even is focused on. All I know is that it's dystopian, something about a game, but don't hold me to it because I'm not really sure. But for book 1, The Hunger Games, it says, may the odds be ever in your favor. Winning will make you famous, losing means certain death. And I literally don't know what that means, but it sounds so intriguing that I want to read it. For book 2, it is, may the odds be ever in your favor. Katniss Everdeen survived the Hunger Games. Now the Capitol wants revenge. And I'm pretty sure from the random snippets I've heard my friends talk about, I think the Capitol is the antagonist in this book, so we shall see. And of course book 3 is The Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins, and this little excerpt says, may the odds be ever in your favor. If we burn, you burn with us. And I don't know why, but I'm really drawn into vague descriptions, so it sounds so fascinating. I can't wait to read them. And now I just want to quickly double check what the prequel title is because that's going to be the next book we're talking about. Okay, so the prequel for the Hunger Games series is in fact The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and I am not so sure about the reading order, but my friends said that it makes more sense to read the whole actual series in front of the prequel, even though it's published as a prequel. So I'm just gonna trust them on that, and I'm actually really interested in reading it because I actually saw that book first before I even found this book series, even though I owned it. I actually did not know they were connected at all. The author's name was pretty familiar, but I didn't know why because I had never read one of these books, nor did I ever have the interest to back in the day. But since I saw that book, I have been so interested. So the next book I definitely want to get to in 2024 is actually a book I wanted to read since 2019, which is when I first heard of it, literally before I ever heard anyone talk about this book. Back in 2019, when I first heard of this book, I went into my school library searching for it because that was where I heard of it from and that was where I first saw it. But when I went in, the book had completely disappeared. But on the library record online, it said that the book was in like stock technically. And I went to the librarians and asked them about the book, and they also did the whole like library check online. And we all went. Every single librarian helped me try to find this one book, and we couldn't find it. And ever since that day, the book has just vanished from that library, and I don't know why that happened. I've been told by the librarians that someone probably just took the book out and just forgot to return it and didn't borrow it out. So hopefully that book has found its way back home to the school library. But now I'm so happy my uncle actually gave me this copy, and it's Love and Gelato by Jenna Evans Welch. I'm not sure if I pronounced that part right, but I have wanted to read this book for the longest time ever, and I am so happy to have my own personal copy. Like, this is absolutely gorgeous. The one in the library did have like an older version of the cover, but I'm absolutely obsessed. And I'm saying older version because this is like the only other version of the cover I've seen, and I'm not so sure if this is like the first or second edition. I'm actually so excited to read this. I don't even remember what intrigued me in the first place, but I was definitely not interested in books set in Italy at that time. I was definitely very interested in like Asia and France, so I'm not sure what drew me to this book. I am now interested in books set in Italy currently, but I'm not sure why this book caught my eye all those years ago. And I really want to know because the blurb literally just says, Lena is spending the summer in Tuscany, fulfilling her mother's dying wish that she should get to know her father. With the help of her mother's journal, Lena uncovers a magical world of secret romance, art and hidden bakeries. People come to Italy for love and gelato, someone tells her, but sometimes they discover much more. And I don't know. I literally cannot remember why I wanted to read this book. And yeah, but the blurb definitely probably was the reason I was drawn to this book initially. But now that I'm reading the blurb again, I literally don't know what it was about the blurb that made me interested. So obviously it is definitely a romance. I'm not so sure about what else this will be entailing, but it is summer in Australia and I am definitely very interested to read Love and Gelato because I want to get this book read and I want to see if my initial gut feeling that drew me to this book all those years ago was right, because I had a feeling that I was going to like this book. So I want to know if that stays true. Okay, so the next book is technically another series. As of now, there's 4 books out. I'm not sure if there's going to be any more books out because I was surprised to find out this was a series in the first place. And it was definitely very popular on TikTok, I will say that. But it was Before the Coffee Gets Cold, and I cannot pronounce the author's name. So I actually wasn't very interested in reading this initially. My English teacher even asked me how I read the book. I'm like, no, I didn't even know what that book was initially when she asked me. I was confused. I didn't have TikTok back then, nor was I very like a common viewer in the booktube community either, so I had no idea what this book was. And since then I literally got the entire series. I don't know how, but my aunt actually gifted me the first 3 books, which is this, and the 4th book I actually got for my 18th birthday, and that was from my friend Talia, but I don't have the copy with me right now because I left it at my aunt's house. So book 1 is Before the Coffee Gets Cold. I'm really gonna mess this up. Book 2 is Before the Coffee Gets Cold, Tales from the Cafe. I absolutely love the covers. That's literally one of my favorite things about the series so far. And I know that's superficial, but still, we do judge books by the cover. And book 3 is Before Your Memory Fades, and book 4 is Before We Say Goodbye. So lots of people running around, okay? Anyway, so I am so intrigued to read this book series. Like, I am obsessed with the cover already, but I'm also like really excited. I love how in book 1 it basically seems like it's a time travel book, and I was really obsessed with this show called Find Me in Paris, and basically it was like a time travel, I guess, ballet, drama, romance. It was like crazy, but I really liked it. And this is literally what it reminds me of sometimes, even though I know there's probably not going to be a lot of dance in this. But I feel like this book, even though it's short, it probably is really, really interesting. And I'm just like really interested in like the whole idea of like time travel in fiction books, because I don't really get recommended a lot of those books, since I do read mostly historical fiction, which is based on like truth as much as it could have. So yeah, those are the next 4 books I want to read. And now the rest of this video is literally just gonna be a bunch of pictures because I don't have the rest of these books with me. Okay, so the next series is another series that went super popular on TikTok, BookTube, Bookstagram even, and like a bunch of other social media platforms. And I have not read it yet. I think some of my friends have read it, but I don't know. I was never interested because it was definitely a genre I haven't read in a while, and that would be fantasy. And I don't know, I'm just kind of experimenting in 2024 to see what other genres I like, because as of now I do know I definitely enjoy romance and thrillers, but I do want to branch out a little more and see whether some of the old genres that I used to enjoy reading when I was younger, including mystery, a lot of suspense books, and like fantasy, would still intrigue me now. I'm pretty sure we all know the name Sarah J Maas. She's very popular in this book talk, booktube, just the book community in general. And I have not read her A Court of Thorns and Roses series. And I'm not sure if that series is finished or not, but I've currently, as of now, I'm pretty sure there's 5 books out. And for 2024, I would love to read all those 5 books. I have seen them in like bookshops and the library in general, and they look gigantic, and that already scares me because long books can be intimidating to read, which is going to sound so funny because a lot of the books I'm going to mention are quite long, but since they're all in ebook format, they don't seem as bad. So let's see. Okay, but with the series, I absolutely have no idea what it's about. I don't know anything really. I have no idea. The last time I read a fantasy book was probably like when I was 12, and I don't remember anything, so I don't think it's gonna go that well. I am trying to get back into fantasy. I have been like looking at other fantasy books, trying to read more fantasy books in general, but it's been a lot harder and it's not as easy as I used to find it. So hopefully this doesn't backfire on me. I'm pretty sure I've been told that her writing's really easy to get into. It's really enjoyable as well, so hopefully I'll enjoy the books, and hopefully I slowly get back into fantasy, because I really want to continue reading fantasy books, but it's just really hard right now because I'm so out of like the whole fantasy world and I don't know what's happening, because it's just so different to when I was back in 2018 when I was younger and still reading fantasy at the time. Another book series, which is also a fantasy series, and one that's actually really controversial, I've been told, is the Lightlark series, or saga I think is what it's called, by Alex Aster. So I have actually been following Alex Aster for like a really long time, prior to knowing that she had released books. I'm actually really interested. Like, I actually stayed away from the whole Lightlark saga because of all the controversy I had been seeing, but I am also like deeply invested into the marketing by this point that I just want to know if I like it or hate it. So for a while now, I have been going around shelves seeing if I can even like purchase the book, but it's like sold out. Okay, so apologies for the entire room change, but as I was saying, Lightlark kind of like blew up. It was definitely really hyped up on TikTok, from what I've been told is where this whole kind of controversy started. But I am really interested, and I'm very invested in like the whole idea of like the plot and storyline, which I guess depends on like the reader, and hopefully it'll be enjoyable because I do really want to read the book, and I'm just kind of holding out until after my trip to go get the books, because I don't want to bring like these gigantic books, because I actually have seen them before in person and they look quite huge, and I'm not bringing that in a suitcase for a trip where I'm barely going to be reading, because I will be definitely exploring the islands and just having fun, because I would not know how I'm gonna really spend much time reading unless I'm on the beach, but even then I feel like I'm going to be working and writing, so we shall see. Also, I'm not sure if I'm even going to film this trip at this point, so no idea on that, but we are definitely excited and I can't wait. And also Lightlark book 2 is called Nightbane, which actually recently came out in November, and I am so excited. I actually really love like the cover art of like both Lightlark and Nightbane in general. It's really pretty and I really just want to read them, not because of the cover but also because of like the different marketing Alex S does, and it just really drags me in. And I know it's probably like gonna end up really either I hate this or I love this, but I don't think that's gonna really change my view objectively on the whole situation. But I am really interested in seeing her writing style and just reading her book in general. Okay, so the next book is technically part of a series, but I am only interested currently in reading book 1. I'm not so sure if this is interconnected or like a series where you have to read every single book to understand what's going on, but I do have book 1. So, and I'm actually interested to see whether I am going to fall into this world, because it is another fantasy book, and that is The Stolen Kingdom by Bethany Adesada. And I absolutely adore watching her videos. I think she's pretty common and popular among the AuthorTube community, and I absolutely love learning like different things from her and just watching her videos in general. It's also really inspiring and she really is just so transparent, and I love watching her videos. And I was actually really excited when I actually got this book, and now I'm like, I just need a reason to read it. And I feel like I've had the book for kind of a few months now, and I just haven't gotten around to it because I have been really busy reading other books and just like finishing a bunch of series I've been reading. And I feel like now I want to start this series, but we're just going to start with book 1 first and we'll see how we go, because there are so many books I want to read in 2024. Another fantasy book. There seems to be a common theme where fantasy is probably going to be the genre I'm going to be focusing my time on the most, is by R.F. Kuang, the Poppy War series. And that means book 1, Poppy War, book 2, The Dragon Republic, and book 3, Burning God. I want to try and read all those books. I have actually started the Poppy War back in 2023. I just never got past chapter 1 because I was busy reading other book series for other videos at the time. So I just never got around to finishing it. So I would love to finish the entire series in 2024. And another book by her, I'm pretty sure it's not a series, is Babel or Babel. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it, but my friends read it and they definitely said it was worth the time reading and it's really interesting. And it seems like a historical fiction, but I'm pretty sure it's also like a dark academia. But it does seem really intriguing, and since I am very much experimenting with different genres this year, this sounds like something that I want to give a go and like, you know, just figure out if I like it or hate it. I don't really know so much about the series, but they all sound so intriguing and I just really want to go into these books, I guess kind of blind, because with BookTube, BookTok and Bookstagram, you kind of see all these like spoilers and snippets that draw you in, but sometimes like, I don't know if this is like randomly just happening now, but a lot of times when I read books, I like going into them blind rather than knowing what's basically gonna happen and like figuring out the entire plot line and story beats in my head. So I feel like also when you're a writer, you're kind of just more used to the pattern and like the formula people follow, and you just kind of know what to expect in a way, and it just kind of makes reading less enjoyable. So I'm going to try my best to go into more books blindly in 2024, and while that sounds extremely weird when I say it out loud, I just want to be more experimental and just kind of make reading more escapist and more fun at this point. Following on with the whole experiment and just like branching out into new genres, I'm going to try and read a classics book, and that is Leo Tolstoy's War and Peace, or War on Peace. I'm not really sure because I see so many different variations of that book title, and I just know I want to read it one day, but that one day is never happening, so why not 2024? it is a new year and it just makes most sense to me to like start reading that book and a whole new genre I'm really not used to in general. So it's going to be really exciting and I can't wait. I don't really know much about this book in general, but one of my good friends definitely said that it was a hard read and had to stop. So hopefully we don't DNF the book and hopefully we get through it because I'm not sure how that's gonna go. We don't have like very similar book tastes, but we do like really similar things. So who knows, maybe I will like it or maybe I will be like her and just can't finish it and hate it in the end. Okay, so back to I guess the genres I am more used to and familiar with. We have a romance book and this is technically a Christmas romance, and that is Camilla Isley's Fool Me Twice at Christmas. I actually have never heard of this book prior to when I saw it in the store, and now I want to read it. It's definitely something I am interested in. I love Christmas romances, even though they're like so, I don't know if formulaic is the word, but it does feel really like you follow a set formula. So as a writer, I am writing my own Christmas book series one day and I have started working on it. I'm not sure when that's going to come out though, and I do understand that it can get really cringy and just really typical, so trying to diversify it is really hard. But the cover is just really cute, and also I like the premise of the book from like the little blurb that I did read, which I will put like a photo insert here, and it just seemed really interesting and I just wanted to like read it, and plus be a fun kind of quick read, so why not. And our final book for our 24 books that I'm most excited for in 2024 is Run For Your Life by C.M. Sutter. I have never heard of this author or this book, but it looks like a thriller and I'm very interested. So I decided why not. I really just chose this kind of based on the cover, and yeah, hopefully I'll like it, hopefully I won't hate it, and hopefully it gives me all the thriller vibes I want, which is probably none of them because I am horrified. That is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what your top couple of books that you want to read in 2024 are, and stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy New Year and bye!